welcome everyone. It's a pleasure to see you all again. Well, you can see me, can't quite see you, but I'm imagining you. There's you behind your phone or your tablet or your laptop. Really keen to see what we're going to talk about today. And what we're going to talk about today is what's in the title: endpoint adjustment and setting your steering straight. It's very important to have your steering going in the direction that you want it to, as well as when you go through your corners, that the car does what you're asking for. And sometimes you might feel that, hey, I set my steering up, and sometimes it feels different left to right. But before we get into that, my name is Trish and I work at Schumacher Racing. I also do this channel to try and help you all get your cars running better. I sometimes race touring cars, do buggies, or just have some fun out on the road. I, like yourselves, love this hobby and want to share with you all my experiences in the best way that I can, which is through YouTube. So whilst you're there, subscribe onto the videos. You'll be able to see everything that I do. So my channel, which you'll be joined in with, will give you hopefully helpful things to help you with your racing. Click on that magical bell. That bell will let you know within your subscriptions. It will pop up and let you know that I have made a video. And the other bit is, if you like it, give me a thumbs up, whack that on there, and leave me a comment with anything that you would like to see on future videos, which is always great, as well as if you're happy with what I've done with the steering setting up. This is how I do it, and this is how I'd set it on Michael's car, or myself, or anyone else that was asking me. So shall we get into it? I think we should. So I've already prepared my car. I've taken the front end of it apart, and I'm going to show you my loose steering linkage here. I've got a nice horn here from Aerox. It's part of our new ones there. There we go, it's looking nice and swish there. I've got an RSX3 response KO servo. It's been brilliant for me, being bulletproof. Very happy with that. And we're going to set that up. What you'll need to do is you'll grab your radio. This is my radio. This is an M17 by Sanwa. It's been very good, been enjoying it very much. And we're going to switch on and we're going to get onto the steering. You might have a KO or a Futaba or a Spectrum, whatever it is. It's going to hopefully have endpoint adjustment. If it hasn't, that probably means it's a lower end radio, so you can't do that. But nowadays we generally have endpoint adjustment on most radios that are out there, so you should have that. So I've got a screen here. I'm going to do a separate shot to show you all the various bits, what's happening with this. But basically, we have on my screen, I have a rate. We'll leave that. That's all about that. The dual rate, so we can adjust both of the steering balances down. If you've got too much steering, we can reduce that. The other bit is we've got a sub trim. So what you want to do is you want to set that to 0. So I'm going to come down here. And I'm going to set it to 0. So I was on 15, and I'm going to bring it down to that point there. And what we want to do is we want to do that because that's kind of what's built into the radio, knowing where 0 is, and you put that there. You've also got your trims which are above the steer wheel, and you're going to have one that's just for the steering. So we're going to make sure that's on the steering as well. We're going to want to make sure it's on center. So I'm going to tap that over there so it's on center. So you have a good starting point. We're probably going to have to change the sub trim slightly to make sure the splines sit on. Normally you've got 23 tooth and 25 tooth, and some of the rare servos are at 24 tooth, but generally 23 or 25. I've got a 23. That's the Sanwa spline size, and then you've got like Futaba sizes which are 25. They're the main two horns out there. Find out which yours have before you've started. You might have just got your servos and wondered, what do I use? That's obviously a good question. So as we're here, we're going to have a look further down. We have the endpoint adjustment for the left and endpoint adjustment for the right. And we're going to change them in a bit, not just yet. And the other bit's got a reverse. What you might find is when you steer right, your car steers left. You need to reverse that. And normally it will say nor for normal or rev for reverse. So set it to whichever way means right, or left means left. Unless you've got some skills and you want to drive it the other way around, that's up to you. But I'd recommend doing it so right is right and left is left. So let's move on to the car. What we're going to do, we're going to power it up. I'm going to disconnect my noisy fan, and then we can go from there. Right, I've disconnected my fan, and we're going to plug it in, and we're going to have a nice quiet car and set all of this up. So make sure your servo works first. You can hear that there. Okay, that's my servo wiggling around. If you haven't done this before, it'd be quite exciting. You're getting into this now. Once that's done and the speed controller is set up, you get out onto the track. So mine's set to the middle point at the moment, and what I do now is I will put the servo horn over the top. But what you'll find is you can't necessarily put it straight down. You'll have to have it on a slight angle. But you'll see what you need to do once you do it, where your center track rod is sitting. If your center track rod is sitting over here and you've managed to get it on straight, or actually you need that to be sitting in the middle. So you might have to adjust your sub trim once you've got it as close as you can to this point. So I'm just going to plug it in right now. Well, not plug it in, but sit it over the top. And then I'm going to drop it on to what I think will be center. Okay. So we're just pushing that on over there, and that pops into place. It looks pretty good. So what we'll do, as I'm happy with that, I'm just going to do a couple of taps on here before I lock the servo in with the screws and the clamp screw, and we'll come to our sub trim and we'll just tap it over a couple of clicks. Which way do we want to go? So I'm going to the left of mine, and that looks about right. I'm pretty happy with that. I can't argue with that. If you've got gauges, if you're into that kind of thing, generally in off-road we don't do that, but if you have a touring car, you'll have gauges so you can actually set it so it's dead straight, and make sure everything looks perfect. So your radius arms are sitting straight, your center track rod is looking good, and everything looks about right. And then you can set everything up from there. But with off-road, I just use my eyes. They're pretty good. You can see when something's straight off on a slight angle, so bring that in so they're both there, and you've got that part in the middle. Okay, so that's now in place. We're pretty happy. All I do now is I'm going to tighten up, not all the way, but most of the way, the little side clamp screw. And this side clamp screw is very important. What that does is you'll find that some servos, you'll put your servo horn on and it's a little bit loose, whereas some servos it'll be tight. And there's an outer diameter of these splines, and over the years other companies have made 23 tooth splines and 25 tooth, and that might be fractionally smaller. So what you'll find is with the clamp we can take up the difference on those outer dimensions, so that diameter will then come down, it will close around on these splines and hold it nicely. It's not there to be over clamped, becoming a clamp like this, and then you put the screw on the front. It's kind of quite devilish. You kind of get on there and like really attack it. No, we're going to look after this, so we're going to do it up nicely. It's only an let's call it an M2, so we're going to be kind to it. So we're going to just screw that in there. You might want to put a little bit of Loctite on the screw if you're not going to overdo it, but I'm not doing it on this. I'm going to give it a snug it up, and then I'm going to give it a nice squeeze, twist it maybe a quarter to a half of kind of squeezing up that area, and it should be good. Next I have my cap head screw. Okay, I've got cap head screw and a nice big washer to give it lots of equal pressure over the whole area opposed to a focus point on the centre, and I would put some Loctite on, but for the purposes of this video I won't be doing it, but I'll put a tiny amount of blue Loctite, which isn't the most aggressive one, it's quite a soft one, and we'll screw that in now. So I just screw that in there, and as we go in you'll hear a little bit of strain of the servo. You could probably turn it all off now, but put your fingers around the servo horn, give it a good support, and you're going to do it up. Okay, and that's nice and tight. We've now got to the point that it's now hopefully going in a straight line, but we need to set up the balance. Okay, so the travel on the left and the travel on the right, and what you'll find on pretty much most cars out there, there'll be a point in which it locks out on a hard stop. This will be called like your crash stop, and so you can set your servo to pick up that point. What we're going to do is we're going to take it over there until it touches onto it, and you're going to hear a little bit of strain from the servo. That's what I like to do with the off-roaders. Some people like to back it off a little bit. Maybe that takes away a little bit of the aggression of the steering, but what you find is when you go through caster change and through bumps, there will be points through the travel that it actually loses some of that pressure. And when you also go around a corner and the servo isn't loaded up for your lock, you can find that you'll lose a little bit of steering. So I like to run a little bit of strain on the servo, in which you're going to see in a minute. So we're going to have a look on our controller now, and we're pretty happy with everything. So we're going to go down to the left on the EPA. I'm going to click on that. At the moment I'm at 120. I'm going to break down to 100 and then we're going to start from there. Okay, so we're going to turn left. Okay, and at the moment I've got a little bit of play. I'm looking down at it and I can move it with my finger and I'm wiggling it around, and you can see that there's a little bit more to go. So all we're going to do is we're going to turn up that end point. Okay, now you can hear a little strain. Okay, so we're going to come over. Okay, so you can hear it do that. No, 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 no. Okay, and we know that now it's holding it well. We want to match that on the other way. So now we'll come to the endpoint adjustment for the right, and we'll do the same. Okay, I've already got that, and I had it at about the 96 mark. So I'm going to come off, and I'm going to come on again. So I'm going to go left. Okay, it's not quite as tight as right. And what we'll probably do is put all the bits and bobs back on for the suspension. We'll check it again. And we'll go from there. Give me 2 seconds. We'll put it back together. I've got the bulkhead. I'm going to drop that all back in place. I've got my power driver. We'll just check it one more time. I like to have the arms compressed a little bit, so I've got the chassis flat on the surface. Okay, so I'm coming to the full throw, and I've got a little bit left on the controller when I do this. Okay, so if you look at the controller, I'll come around here. That last little bit. Okay, we'll check the left. Okay, so we see there's not a lot of movement there, about kind of 5 minutes, 4 minutes, and that's what we want. That's what we go for. So I'll say we've set up our steering locks, and it should go straight on a straight line. Get to the track or out on the driveway or on the carpet if your parents aren't looking, or the family members that are around you don't mind, and just make sure it goes in a straight line. Turn it back, drive it towards yourself and check it. That should be good, and that should get you going. So get yourself over to the track, go have a race and enjoy yourself. If you had any trouble with that, send me a message in that comments and let me know what you think. Hopefully this has helped you and it's allowed you to kind of have a better understanding of what you're meant to do. Sometimes when you come into this hobby, it can be a little bit scary. There's all these different things to learn about. It doesn't matter what car you drive, this would be a good way of getting yourself going. Maybe if you drive a touring car, it'll be slightly different because we'll be setting using the gauges, how many degrees of lock you want. Sometimes indoors you'll be running 27 degrees on the inside wheel lock, or 26 or 25, depending on how little steering you want or how much you want in the corner. So you won't be locking it out the same way necessarily. But anyway, that's for another day maybe. Enjoy yourselves, enjoy racing. Racing's there for us to have fun. I enjoy it, I hope you do. I hope this video's helped you. I'll see you soon. Bye.